Thank you and welcome each of you all here to the Georgetown City Council meeting for Monday, April 13th, 2026. We are here to conduct business for the city of Georgetown. So at this time, Madam Clerk, if you will call the roll.
Here.
Present.
Present.
Here. James? Here. Mr. Stone?
Here. Thank you, Madam Clerk. Next, the approval of minutes, March 23rd, 2026, City Council meeting. At this time, Council, if I could have someone to make a motion to accept those minutes.
I'll make a motion, Mayor.
Motion made by Ms. Brent. Do I have a second?
Second.
Okay, everybody at one time. All right, so we're going to give that one to the first one I hear, and that was Ms. Mitchell. So it's been properly made and properly second. Are there further questions and or comments? All those in favor of the motion signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed say likewise, say nay. Let the record reflect that it passed. Item number 4, which is receipt of the check registry. Council, if you have received those, please raise your hand. Thank you. Let the record reflect that all have received it. Item number 5, public comments. At this time, we will allot you 4 minutes in which you may come. Please state your name and what you want to bring before council. You will have 4 minutes to state what your business is or your comments. And again, this is comment and what you're going to have, public comments. Madam Clerk will let you know when 3 minutes has elapsed. And she will then let you know you have 1 minute. And at the end of that 4-minute time slot, we will ask that at that time, if you would kindly take your seat and be respectful, and that so we can continue with business. First is Assistant Chief Willett, who's going to talk about Safety Day.
Sir, good evening.
Good evening.
Mayor, council members, I am here at the urging of my chief to talk about Safety Day, which is Saturday, April 18th at Brooking Park from 10 a.m. to 3 p.m. We used to have Safety Day before COVID. COVID kind of shut us down, so we're trying to bring it back again. And we have a lot of community partners that will be there, including us Fire Department, Scott County Fire Department, Police Department, Sheriff's Office, 911, Public Works, Water Company, EMS, who will be doing hands-on CPR classes. Lexington Fire Department's bringing their smokehouse. EMA will be there. They will be programming weather radios, KSP, KU, Georgetown Community Hospital, Center Point Hospital, I apologize. Georgetown Campus Safety, Air Methods, weather permitting, will bring their helicopter in. And I'd like to give the school system will be there with a bus, and I'd like to give a big thanks to the Parks and Rec. They will be there as well, and they have been a big help in promoting this and allowing us to use Brooking Park. We will be around the outside show barn with some of the tables in the concession stand, handing out swag and information and all the safety stuff, and of course all the kids can touch a truck and have fun with all of the big apparatus that will be there. We'll have some grease fire demonstrations, and hopefully we can get a couple cars and have some extrication demonstrations. And the police department, sheriff's department will have their IDs and the fingerprinting for the kids, just like they do here at the Horse Festival. And one of the big things that we'll be doing is car seat checks. So all of the Georgetown Fire Department firefighters or car seat technicians will have a car seat check station. You can come get your car seats checked free of charge. It's open to the public. Anybody can come and make sure that their car seat is installed safely so that our kids are safe. So I just wanted to announce that, invite all of you guys to come out and enjoy. Come touch a truck And, yeah, that's it.
Thank you, Chief. All right, next, Mr. Dan Holman.
Yeah, Dan Holman, here in Georgetown. Yeah, I just have some comments about some agenda items and things we've talked about before. So one of which is GMWSS. So yeah, the sewer project is underway and over there on Water Street. So I just want to say that's just kind of unprofessional, the way that happened. That should not have been in the park. It should have been without having analyzed Water Street. There's apparently no documentation that anyone analyzed or put numbers down on paper or did any serious look at what disruption really meant on Water Street. What does disruption mean, and what would it cost in terms of money and time, and what technologies could have been available? That just wasn't done, and I think that's unprofessional. And it's kind of a dark spot, a page in Georgetown history that we're digging up the park like this. Another element that wasn't considered in this park project was what is the, like picture that they were a private sewer company that came and wanted to dig through the city park. What would you all have said? You all would have probably said no. You'd have wanted to see why they couldn't keep it on Water Street where it was. Also, you would have wanted an easement payment. There's no concept of an easement payment that was involved in this project. This park, the real estate value of our city park is being reduced because of this pipe through it that's going to limit what you can do there, and the public value of the park is being reduced. So the value of our park is being reduced, but yet nobody brought up the concept of compensating for that. They just thought there would be a disruption, undefined disruption. So moving on from that. So hopefully we can do better at future projects. This was just unprofessionally run, so hopefully other projects can do better, such as the future water supply project, which is it's an important project coming up. Since 2022, December of 2022, they started embarking on this, and there's been almost no conversation about it since then. There was the one workshop like a few months ago, but we haven't heard anything from that. In November, yeah, so what we could go on about. So they just need to be more transparent about that. We need, they basically need to release the RFPs that came in November. The scoring committee needs to, and then the public needs to talk about this future water supply project, or it could end up being just as unprofessional as the Water Street project. Then I think kind of at the last meeting, it ended up on the news in Lexington. There seemed to be a consensus that the public was saying, and some of you all were saying, that GMWSS needs an audit of some kind. And people have been calling for this for a long time. An audit or a review or some kind of outside look at GMWSS. And even they agreed. They said they'd be open to that and welcome it. So hopefully something like that can get started. The question is, what are you going to review? What are you going to look at? Generating a report about billing spikes, as has been asked for them to do for months now. Just show a report that shows the billing spikes that everybody's talking about. Instead, they'll bring these propaganda pie charts that show like leaks, like reported leaks, but people are really asking about this usage spike thing. And could they get a report about that? I think a middle school student could do that for them if they need help. And then look at the legal structure of GMWSS. So KRS, it's this KRS 96.320, and I mentioned about this before several months ago. And I think Todd that day agreed that was something to be worth looking into. A council member was going to look into that. It's a simple thing for everybody to read. It says a water municipal utility can be set up either as a department of the city or a board of commissioners.
That's 3 minutes.
And this board of commissioners thing just seems very antiquated. It's like a mid-20th century thing back when we had part-time employees here. But at this point, look at KRS, and so part of KRS 329 tells them that the Board of Commissioners shall make full monthly reports to the city legislative body of the operation and condition of the water system, including all receipts and expenditures. That's apparently, if I'm reading this right, is required by law of them to do on a monthly basis, give you a report. And I don't think they're doing that. I think they have been not following the law that they're incorporated under for years. Do they do that? So it might be nice if the staff would at least present what is the legal structure of GMWSS. I think the GMWSS board could talk among themselves what is their legal structure. And I know I'm running out of time. So, but moving on also to this, the planning and zoning conversation, which that's an important thing to talk about.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Steve Price.
Thank you for allowing me to speak 4 minutes. I have a number of subjects on my mind. I think the most obvious is water, as it seems to be always in the topic of conversation. I understand that Engineer Hightower is going to address you regarding floodwater management. And I will say, as I've said to this council many times, floodwater can be reduced by capturing all rainfall to make use of it with rain barrels. And so that's my one of my comments regarding flood management. You should be compelling the water company to promote rain barrels, and you could provide a property tax incentive to every homeowner in Georgetown who will install a rain barrel. That would go a lot. That would be a big step toward reducing flooding. Another big step that you will find unconventional, that you have found unconventional for decades, is my suggestion that you mount a so-called water gate at what we used to call McKnight's Pond. McKnight's Pond being just south of Old Lemons Mill Road, near the intersection with South Hamilton Street. That's the pond which drains the south, where the flooding on South Broadway more or less originates at that pond. There is a culvert. The culvert just does no good whatever. The water flows right through the culvert. I think it's about 4 foot diameter. I have suggested many times, I'll say it again to the Engineer Hightower, you could put a floating water gate on the south end of that culvert to block it until the water reaches a certain that threatens to overflow the dam, at which point the gate would rise, have flotation balls on the gate to make it rise, and then water would begin to flow through the culvert, but until that time, a downstream would remain dry. Watergate, McKnight's Pond. It's my second suggestion. Third suggestion. I see in the paper that Robert Bruin is distributing leaf mold, composted leaves. And where did those leaves come from? The curbs in front of people's homes is what Robert Bruin told me last week when I talked with him. He says people will call him and demand, where are you going to come pick up my leaves? And he feels compelled to do it. And now, but then it says in the paper that the people are very grateful. They would like to come and they like the compost. Is that correct, Robert Bruin? Where is Robert Bruin?
Here, direct your attention here to the council.
Is Robert Bruin here?
Direct your attention here to the council. The question is here.
Well, all I can do,
Thank
if
you.
I can't get Robert Bruin to confirm it, Councilman Lesby, no, she was at the meeting. Robert Bruin said in the newspaper that people love his compost. When they give it away every month, I think every Saturday. And why would you want to oblige people to drive to Delaplane to the old community garden site to pick up a load of compost when they've got the leaves at their homes? They could manage them for compost at home, but not if you continue to pick them up and addict people to motor transportation of a huge resource, the leaves that fall off of their trees that can be composted to make fertilizer. So my advice to you is revise your policy of picking up leaves from people and
4 minutes.
Thank you.
Thank you. All righty. See, anyone else who was here and wanted to address council but never turn into the sheet to actually sign the sheet? If not, we will continue on. Item number 6 is the events applications. So item A, 6A, is 5MU 5K run. Is somebody here from the 5MU to? No one's here from, okay. Then we'll move right on. Next is 6B, Scott County Schools Senior Graduation Celebration.
Good evening, Mayor, council members. I'm thrilled to be here. I'm Renee Holmes. I'm the Director of Community Education for Scott County Schools. Usually you see Dwayne Ellison, but since he retired, you're stuck with me. Thankful for your ongoing support of what has become a pretty highly anticipated newer tradition for our graduates. We started with a parade in 2020 when graduates couldn't be together. In 2022, you were kind enough to allow us to evolve, move that parade downtown and make it a walking parade, where our graduates walk through town, their families line the streets, and our community is able to celebrate them. We're asking for your consideration for this event again this year for Wednesday, May 27th. We generally meet at what I know as the old Hinton Field, which is the Georgetown College field between Jackson and College Street. We meet about 5:30. The parade itself it's pretty quick. Follows the traditional downtown parade route. Starts about 6 o'clock with the bands and the cheer and fire and police support to escort our graduates through downtown. We go Military, Main, Broadway, back to College. They like to all clump up together and walk with their friends, but we have this year about 450 graduates from Great Crossing High School. The class of 26 will include about 350 from Scott County High School and another 65 from Phoenix Horizon Community. And they really do come out in support of this event, and their families stick around after, and what I think is have time for fellowship and togetherness in downtown businesses, especially restaurants. If there are any questions that you have, I'd love to be able to, again, ask for your support for the event so that we can celebrate the class of 2026 in style. I don't see this going away. People really seem to love it. If you have questions, I'm available. We will announce soon so that graduates and family members and out-of-town guests can make arrangements for that week. Any questions?
Thank you, Ms. Holmes. At this time, you've heard the request. Council, at this time, would entertain a motion for this event. Mr. Crisp has made a motion. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Second by Ms. Brent. Are there further questions and or comments? All those in favor of this motion signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed say nay. Let the record reflect that it passed.
Please mark it down and join us that night.
Yes,
Thank
please,
you so
thank you.
much.
The Scott County Farmers Market, I don't think anybody's here for that. They cannot be here, so we're going to punt that to next week, correct, next time. All right, item number 7, mayor's comments. Before we start, there's 2 proclamations. One of the proclamation is to bring awareness, and the other proclamation is actually to actually promote or actually celebrate the achievement of one individual who was not only a council member, but all the other things this person has done for this community. The first one, the proclamation, is Hemophilia Day, and it's the parent, Kelsey Johnson, who's here, and I'm going to ask her to come up in a few minutes, but this is to bring awareness to this disease. If for some of those who do not know what this disease is, hemophilia is a disease where the antigens, which is in your blood, does not cause that blood to coagulate, to clot. So when that happens, then an ordinary day for you and I, cuts and scrapes, it's very life-threatening for them. A simple bruise for us, for them, it's life-threatening. So we want to bring awareness to that, and there's more people have this than you really know. So Kelsey is here, and I'll ask her to come on up, and she wants to say a few words a little bit, and she got Maverick with her. That's the little one. So if you want to come up.
Thank you, guys. I didn't prepare a whole lot, but I really just wanted to raise awareness, specifically with hemophilia. I know in our community, I have met one other individual with severe hemophilia. So there is prevalence. There's only about 300 to 400 males in the U.S. that's diagnosed with it a year. So it's really just to raise awareness with what it is and also the importance of like access to medication. I was planning on bringing a little vial, but we used it last night on him. But 1 milliliter of medication for him is $15,000. That's every 2 weeks that we use. And that is what we use to help try and prevent bleeds. And then there's additional medication that we use for when we do have a bleed. So just wanted to raise awareness for the community, but
Well, thank
thanks,
you.
guys.
Well, okay, at this time, Madam Clerk, if you read the proclamation.
2026 Hemophilia Day. Whereas since its designation by the World Federation of Hemophilia in 1989, World Hemophilia Day has been recognized annually on April 17th to help foster greater awareness and understanding of hemophilia and all other bleeding disorders. And whereas bleeding disorders, including hemophilia, are characterized by the inability to form a proper blood clot in affected individuals, leading to extended bleeding after injury, surgery, trauma, or menstruation, and whereas bleeding disorders impact millions of individuals nationwide and can lead to significant morbidity or even death if not treated effectively, and whereas it is important to recognize that individuals with bleeding disorders depend on the safety and availability of the blood supply, transfusions, and blood products, continued work is needed to advocate for the increased reliability and safety of blood and blood products. And whereas today the City of Georgetown joins individuals affected by hemophilia and all bleeding disorders in raising awareness of these conditions, fostering a greater sense of community among individuals and bleeding disorders, working together to improve access to treatment and care, and emphasizing better control and prevention of bleeds. Now therefore, I, Bernie Jenkins, Mayor of Georgetown, Kentucky, do hereby recognize April 17, 2026 as Hemophilia Day and urge all citizens to commend this observance.
Thank you. At this time, I'm going to ask Kelsey to come up. And Kelsey, if you would join me, we'll take a picture. And all right. Our next proclamation is to give recognition to Mr. Bias Tilford Sr. Most of us in here knows who Mr. Tilford and what he meant to this community. He was an advocate for Georgetown, and that he's also, being a council member, paved the way for a lot of things that were now in place because of his steadfast advocating for the everyday person. And we want to make sure that we recognize him because he really was a pillar of this community. And we did not want to go by and let that pass, that we don't recognize his lifetime achievement. We're not talking about a couple of months. We're talking about a lifetime achievement, a lifetime. And so that being said, I think he's represented by his son, Mr. Tilford's coming over, and I'll let him come forward. Ms. Tilford is here, and again, thank you for being here, and your husband meant a lot to this city, and I want to make sure that, so. You know what, I could never tell my mother to do that, I'm going to tell you right now. All right. Well, Ms. Tilford, if y'all want to come up, glad to have you. And you're welcome. And if you either or both want to say something, you have this opportunity to do so.
I had a little thought last night. Terry, can you give me that cup? And I thought about the journey that we as Tilfords have made. For instance, since the first Tilford that landed here as a slave, runaway slave that refused to be enslaved, they sold him to some Scott County plantation in stamping ground. There, him and his brother were relentless and refused to be enslaved. They gave him the name Free Wyatt Tilford. why we're here. They gave him freedom and gave him that legal name. And this cup right here is his son's. That's his work club. That's the First Bass's work club. And Georgetown, white and black, have been good to us. Our first house on Bourbon Street, the Nunleys who owned the old lumber company. That family gave my dad's dad, Free Wise first son, an interest-free house, paid the loan off. He died and succumbed to an injury on the job, and they provided the tuition, the travel for my Aunt Sally, the great educator. So when everybody tells you that history is not important, it's because it has a little pain and suffering. I'll tell you about a holiday. It's now. And we thank you guys for honoring my father. But we thank the best city in America for giving this kind of recognition. Amen.
Amen.
Say
Ms. Tilford.
I said that I wouldn't say anything because Bass has done such a beautiful job.
Amen.
I'm not from Georgetown. I was from Lexington, met him, and what a pleasure it was. And we were married for 70 years. And Bass has loved this town. I began to love the town, began to do things in the community and all over. And I was received well in this community. And what the work that I did when I was on the council, I was on it for 13 years. And I enjoyed it and tried to do the most of it. I even served on the national as a finance, but I have to give it up because
League
that
of
was
Cities.
for the League of Cities was too much for me. Those figures was too big. But I did do my part otherwise. So it is a pleasure for you all to acknowledge Bass and this family. And thank you so very much. You all have a blessed night.
I'm going to give a symbolic toast to the city. Here you go. God bless Georgetown.
Oh, let me do that. Go ahead, read the proclamation.
Proclamation in memory of Bias Sidney Tilford Sr. Whereas the city of Georgetown is honored to recognize the life and legacy of Bias Sidney Tilford Sr., who passed away on February 12, 2026, at the age of 92. And whereas Bias was a man whose life reflected faith, service, mentorship, and the belief that opportunities should exist for everyone. Born in 1933 and raised in Georgetown's historic Boston community, Bias came of age during segregation. And whereas a graduate of Ed Davis High School, Bias was a lifelong learner and a pioneer in media and storytelling. He worked for IBM, WLX-TV at the same time, documenting history through photography and film, including his work on the Adolph Rupp Sunday Show and his contributions to the Louisville Defender, preserving Black history and community voices. And whereas Bias was also a devoted public servant, he served on the Georgetown Planning Commission and the Georgetown City Council with his wife Barbara, and helped create opportunities for minority businesses and played a key role in projects that continue to serve our children and families today. And whereas above all, Bias was a man of faith, a devoted husband and father, and a mentor to countless people. He lived that legacy through integrity, generosity, and love. Now, therefore, I, Bernie Jenkins, Mayor of Georgetown, Kentucky, do hereby honor the memory and legacy of Bias Sidney Tilford Sr. for his service and leadership to our community and dedication to the city of Georgetown.
Thank you for this.
Here. We'll let you put it right there. Thank you. All right, sorry, I get kind of excited when I get to do things that benefits people and bring awareness sometimes. I said, oh,
Mr. Mayor, can I
Yes.
tell a little story on Mr. Tilford?
yeah, go ahead.
So Mr. Tilford and I shared a lot of time being on the council. We came in on the council together. I was mayor. And so he would come out to the shop quite a bit and have conversations on what he thought we needed to do for the city and all. But one of the things I didn't know that Mr. Tilford could do was how he could dance. And he could light up the floor. We'd go to the Ed Davis dances and stuff, and he would be out there lighting up the floor with light feet that he could sit. So he told me, he said, "Come on, I'll show you how to do it." I don't dance like that. And I have a picture. It's one of my treasured pictures that Mr. Tilford has me out on a dance floor, and he is swinging me out, and I have gone way out like this, and he's there with me, and it's one of my treasured pictures. So he could do anything. The man could do anything he set his mind to. So.
Good. Thank you. All righty. All right, let's go to 7C, the executive order for the Georgetown Housing Authority, Judy Littleton. After extensive searching and so on, we've now got complete the actual recommendation, my recommendation for commissioner for the Georgetown Housing Authority. So I'm bringing this to council and you have received her resume as well as her application. So at this time, council, I will entertain a motion for recommendation to approve this appointment.
Motion, Mayor.
Motion made by Ms. Hambrick, second by Mr. Minke. Are there further questions and/or comments? All those in favor of this motion signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed say nay. Let the record reflect that this is passed. Item 7D, historical marker application, Scott County Historical Society. And I asked Glenn Tall to come and to share a little bit about that, as he reached out to me is actually doing a letter of support for this. So he'll tell you a little bit about that. And again, we'll ask council to give a recommendation for me to proceed in sending this letter of recommendation. Mr. Tall.
Thank you, Mayor, and thank you, City Council. So I'm representing you as a member of the Scott County Historical Society rather than as the Georgetown 250 Committee. We are making a nomination application for Alexander Keene Richards to erect a historical marker like this in Royal Springs Park. We've chosen Royal Springs Park because just a half a mile up West Main Street was his farm. It was a 1,000-acre farm. The eastern border of that farm reached down to Royal Springs, and he was known, and I think you all received some information about his life. He was a well-known horse breeder in his day from between about 1851 to 1881. He was an innovator. He tried to be an innovator, let's put it that way. Going to the Middle East to get the purest bred Arabian horses to breed with Kentucky thoroughbreds. And he went to England and get their best thoroughbreds to bring back to his farm to breed with thoroughbreds. And a lot of his business was breeding, even though he had a racetrack. That farm extended down South Broadway, past Rucker, past Highland Court, and all that. Of course, all of it now is residential. So what we need from you, the application asks for letters of support. I have letters of support from the county. I have letters of support from the museum, from the Scott County Historical Society, from Ward Hall, from Keeneland, and from equine historian at the Kentucky Derby Museum. And your letter is key to this because on the application, it asks that where it's going to be erected, they have to have permission from that property owner. And this is why we like your support, not only just to support the project, but to designate, to make sure and tell the Kentucky Historical Society that they can erect that marker on there. It won't be an immediate erection, but it will be in the process. And I don't know when we will receive word, but I'm already past the deadline, but they've given, Dr. Seaver at the Historical Society has given me permission to come in before you to get your permission, and then I will take it to Frankfurt tomorrow to give it to him.
All right.
Any
Counsel, you-
questions?
Oh, I'm sorry.
I'm sorry.
Counsel, you have heard the request. Do I have a motion?
Motion, Mayor.
Okay, motion by Ms. Mitchell, second by Ms. Sames. Are there further questions and or comments?
Oh, I have a question. Oh,
Go ahead.
what are the criteria for the selections of folks who, with the Kentucky Historical Society for this type of?
They have changed the procedure. It used to be where local citizens had to get together and get up a campaign, raise the funds and everything. The legislature has changed the procedure, so the Kentucky Historical Society is in charge. They ask for applications once a year. It can be about a local person like Alexander Keene Richards, but it has to have a broader theme to Kentucky history as a whole. And Richards was significant in his day as a breeder of horse racing in Kentucky.
Okay, great, thank you.
All right. Any other questions and or comments?
Mayor, just a question clarifying, the motion included the approval, including the location of the marker in the park?
Yes.
Okay.
Any other questions and or comments? All those in favor of this motion signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, say nay.
Thank you.
Thank you. All right. Now we're moving on to council reports, item 8, and we have finance.
Okay, we had a special Finance Committee meeting on April 2nd, and it was at 4 o'clock. And members present were Greg Hampton, myself, and Mayor Jenkins. Those are the members of the committee. We also had other guests and officials from the administration. The minutes were approved. We went over budget amendment number 3, which will have its first reading on April the 27th. Finance Director Clark emphasized the need for more frequent budget amendments to remain compliant with state statutes, and she reviewed this, and it will be coming to you at the next council meeting. The next thing we did was we had a general discussion about budget goals for the 26-27 budget. And we first looked at the requests that were made from each of the departments: police, fire, public works, city engineers, stormwater, and that's it. We went over their original asks, and those will be coming to you at the budget workshop tomorrow. Let's see, the next thing that we did was we had a preliminary revenue projection, which has since been revised and will be revised up into the minute for the meeting tomorrow night. So that's coming your way tomorrow night, lots more information there. And the meeting was adjourned at 5:02.
Thank you, Ms. Mitchell. Next is item number 9, is planning and zoning ordinance. Holden and his staff has given us some questions. I think that Councilman Chris had asked, and some others that we talked about from that work session and so on. And we, the staff, going to look into it and take a deep dive into some of those too, so we can get information that we need. And we're going to share that with you all at a later time, and so we can able to find out what our next step's going to go from there. All right?
So, can I ask a question?
Sure.
So, you and Holden are going to get together and...
No, we've come on up, but he has given us the the information.
answers.
His
Okay.
answer. He's giving us his answers. We're gonna kind of, from that point, look into it and kind of take a deep dive and do some internal look into that. And then we're gonna hopefully come up with some next steps based on information we got from that work session.
Okay.
So,
Yes,
so why are we not sharing the feedback?
We just received it Friday afternoon, so
Okay.
it will be circulated.
Yeah.
That's the memo that was requested as part of that work session. Kind of the takeaways from the work session were that the planning commission would issue a response to the city council from
Right.
that report. So that response has just been sent over on Friday. So once digested by the mayor, we will send it out to the council and determine the best way to, as a body, work through what they've sent back and determine next steps with the potentially larger committee and how that's established by formal action of the council, like was discussed in the work session. Sounds like the spirit of the work session was that everybody wanted to develop that committee, but then clarification about how a committee is formed and taking that next step. But that memo and that response to the advisory committee recommendations was that next step, and that was just submitted late last week. So that will come out to the council shortly.
all right. Any other questions? All right, next is item number 10, which is the GMS WSS customer usage information update.
Good evening, Council. Good evening, Mayor. We are coming here just with a follow-up on the 31 bills that we received to review. The normal utility-wide metrics we'll do at the next meeting. So if you want to go to the next slide, this is a breakdown. This is categorical, very high level. We're not going to show details of each person's account tonight publicly. But we'll start. So 9 of the accounts that were submitted had a positive leak check. So they had continuous flow at the meter, which then means that they had an issue with their plumbing on the customer side. And then we also had 5 submissions that were actually Kentucky American Water customers. Their drinking water is metered through Kentucky American, and we provide the sewer services. I think there was a little bit of confusion how that billing works. So what happens is Kentucky American does their readings, and then they transmit those meter readings to us, and then we bill them for the sewer. So we don't have an involvement with the usage for Kentucky American. And then we also have 2 customers who confirmed that they dripped their faucets during this high usage period. And then we also had 1 customer that was actually a sign-up error. So the landlord tried to switch service, put the wrong address, and it messed up that existing customer's bill. When it got fixed, they had a longer billing cycle because we had to catch up. So it looked like their usage increased on their bill. And then we also had 2 customers who found issues within their own plumbing and repaired and confirmed with us that they repaired them, which leaves us 11 remaining accounts that required kind of further investigation. You can go to the next slide. So of those 11 accounts, 5 contacted GMWSS and 6 did not contact GMWSS. Those 6 are kind of outstanding right now. After this meeting, we can kind of decide how we want to pursue moving forward with them and investigating whatever was going on. But of those 5, well, I will stop and say, it is important that they contact us because that is the only way that we know that they need a leak check. Like we said before, we always do the investigation for like very high usage, which is really continuous flow leaks. But when you get down into those lower usage fluctuations, it's impossible for us to tell if you were pressure washing or if you washed your car or if you did a lot of laundry because you had guests or if there is actually an issue like a toilet leaking or something like that. So really when we get into those lower numbers, kind of like the bills that we had here, we really need customers to reach out to us so then we can kind of start that process and we can support them investigating. I will say we can't actually figure out what it is in their house. We can't go in their house, and we get the same data that all of the customers get. So we get 1 reading a month, and that's all the data that we also have to work off of to kind of try and identify whatever's going on in their house. I will say the value that our customer service team adds is their industry knowledge. So a lot of times they can pull up an account and look at their history and be able to kind of narrow it down to like what kind of situation is happening, intermittent leak, continuous leak, things like that. Next slide. So of those 5, 2 have already received an adjustment, and then 3 are still under review. The 3 that are still under review, account number 1 is still in their 3rd consecutive month of high usage. So it seems like we need to do some further investigating to see what's going on with the customer. Account number 2, the meter has been replaced. So far, everything's good, but we're continuing to monitor that account. And then account number 3 is a short-term rental. It's an Airbnb. We call that out just because it's a little bit more difficult to understand what's going on in the house because they have a lot of different tenants coming in and out. So we can't call our customer and say, well, have you had company, or have you had this, or how many people have been there, because it's an Airbnb. So a little bit limited on that front. Next slide. So these are the usage metrics for the 11 remaining accounts. It's kind of hard to see, but blue is their average usage, and then the orange is their spike usage. The green is their average rounded up to the next 1,000. And then the number above the green is how many bills since 2021, or the life of the account, whichever is more recent, have they had that's over that green number. So like for number 1, you can see they've had 26 bills over that amount. Number 2 and number 3, they've had 12, 16, I think the lowest one is 9, just an extra metric to help you guys understand. I think that this does help show that it's not necessarily isolated events, and that maybe there's a little bit of pattern to this, and it's worth evaluating all of the usage over the last 5 years. Next slide. So like I said, from the meter data, we cannot determine what's going on inside the home. We do 1 read per billing cycle, and customers have access to the same information that we do. At low levels, we can't differentiate between water consumption activities and intermittent leaks. That's why our leak notifications are primarily focused on continuous high-level leaks. Next slide. So kind of next steps, we still do need to reach out to our customers, and I wanted to gain clarification that you want us to do that to every single one. Some we have resolved, some have gotten adjustments, so I just wanted to make sure I was understanding that we need to send a letter to everybody. And then the 6 that haven't reached out to us, I just wanted to make sure that you wanted us to go ahead and reach out to them to try and resolve their situation.
Yeah.
So,
These are the bills that Karen turned.
Correct.
Okay, okay.
Correct.
So of the adjustments that you made to the couple, 3 bills, what was the basis on which you made those changes?
For the ones that were adjusted, the leaks. They went through our leak adjustment. Well, I think one of them was a courtesy adjustment, and then the other one was a leak adjustment.
Okay. So what's a courtesy adjustment?
Courtesy adjustment is anything that's outside of our policy. So like technically a toilet leak is outside of our policy for a leak adjustment, but we do offer the courtesy adjustment as an alternative. It's kind of like a broader adjustment, and it's limited to 2 and 5 years.
Okay. So those were actually leaks?
One was not, right?
One, yeah, I know that one was not a leak. One was a courtesy adjustment. I'd have to look back and
So-
see. I believe the other one was actually a leak that was adjusted for.
So the question is, for the one that wasn't a leak, what was the basis on which to make what was the number? Or how did you determine the number?
I believe they follow the same calculation that they do for the leak adjustment. So it's like down to the average, and then I believe we split half of the excess usage above their average. Does that make sense?
Okay.
Yeah,
So it was averages.
So
yeah, it's based off it's account average.
you're saying that in one case, they had a leak, a toilet leak in their house, and normally you wouldn't adjust that. But as a courtesy, you went ahead and did that.
I don't know specifically that it was a toilet leak.
Well,
because I would need to
it
go
was a
back and
leak
look.
that normally you don't give a rebate for or a,
The one courtesy adjustment that we're referencing is an unknown cost.
okay,
That's in this data. It's actually the one that we had talked about last meeting.
okay, thank you.
You say it's an unknown cause. Tell me what the cause is.
It's difficult because we can't not being in the customer's house, we're very limited as to what we can do to really discover what the cause is.
So normal bill spike, normal bill unknown. Move on next, right?
I will say it's very rare, but it does happen sometimes.
And so will that person's bill be followed to see whether or not that's continuing, or is it just like finished at this point?
I believe as of now, with like the new leak tracking metrics, that is being followed. I'm not sure that it was in the past, but
Okay.
now, since January,
Okay.
yes.
Did you say, or did I hear it wrong, that you try to concentrate on those bills that have a continuous leak? Those
Yes,
are the
so-
ones that you're more concerned about, if it's, rather than an aberration suddenly?
Correct. So I think a few meetings ago, we talked about how we try and notify at the 40,000, 30,000, 20,000. 20,000 is really hard to get to because it is, I mean, we have one specific person that's really working on this. But yeah, so those are all really continuous leaks that we're.
And so would you be more inclined to believe that if it's a continuous leak, that there's something that the customer is doing, that there might be a leak between, the house and the road and the meter, or what is the reasoning there?
A lot of times our continuous leaks are service line leaks. So between the meter and the house, it's leaking underground.
Okay.
Correct.
So it's not necessarily, you're not necessarily investigating the way that the water is being recorded by the apparatus at that point. You feel like it's usually some kind of a leak.
I mean, when we see the high usage come in, we automatically do our own work order and go and do a leak check. And usage that high, I mean, usually has a continuous leak. It's a positive leak check. We alert the customer by a door hanger and making contact, and then it's their responsibility to fix it from there.
Okay. I have one more question, if it's
Sure.
okay, Mayor. So when the person came last time and said, we would be glad to do an independent audit, what did that person mean that would entail?
I can't
Was
speak
that
for
you?
them. That was.
Yeah.
Yeah, so we're willing to participate in whatever the council deems appropriate. We're very confident in that. We do get audited every year. That's a financial audit.
Right.
I believe that maybe they were talking about an operational audit, which is more in-depth than a financial audit.
Right.
But I don't have a great understanding, but we are willing.
Yeah, I'm just wondering about what the mechanism would be and what would be, what that would entail, and maybe that's for us to decide. I'm not sure how.
I don't know if we can decide that, but I mean, that's something that,
Yeah,
you know,
we'll
that.
take further discussion.
Well, and that would also be something that agency would end up doing, is that correct?
Sorry, what?
Your agency will have to be doing that, is that correct, to actually demand that be done? So, but that's something we can look at, and we can have conversation with
I
that.
was not sure. We've not done it before, but.
We can, we can
Yeah.
look at that and have conversation with that, okay? We can do that.
Sure.
One question, and you might have already answered it, but the courtesy adjustments that you give or whatever, do you still track those?
Yes.
Once you've done the courtesy adjustment, you'll keep an eye on it to make sure it doesn't fluctuate? Since
Yes,
we don't know
both
what the.
courtesy and leak.
Okay, since we don't know what the problem is at that time.
It's important to follow because, like I said, the courtesy adjustments are limited to 2 and 5. So if they have a spike and then have it again and again, it's not a long-term
Right.
solution.
Right, okay.
Aaron, correct me, Devin, y'all correct me if I'm wrong, Karen. If we order it, they gotta do it. And they have to.
Well, I guess, like I said, if that's something the council wants to do, we can look into doing that and to have a conversation with them to look at that.
I think
Okay.
it's about past time that we do.
A question for you. Okay, so how many of them did you say were, out of that list, were Kentucky American?
5 customers.
5 that were Kentucky American?
Yeah.
All right. So, on that list, so that was the 31 that you received that has been sent to me. Some have been sent to me since then, but on the 31, so you have, out of 31, if 5 of them were Kentucky American, you have 11 of them remaining, right, that you don't have answers to?
Correct.
Okay, and what did you tell me you were going to do to get answers for those remaining 11?
So 5 we're already in contact with.
Okay.
2 have gotten adjustments, but the 3 are the 3 accounts that I presented on. 6, I just wanted confirmation that we need to go ahead and reach out to them.
Oh.
And,
Yeah.
okay.
Yes, I would think the council would say 100% yes
Sure.
on that, to reach out to them and talk to them about what's going on. So, I mean, that's still a little bit of a high amount of questionable as to what's going on, which I know the sampling that was sent to me is a very small sampling, I do believe, of people that were willing to share their water bills. Not everybody's willing to share their water bills, of
Sure.
course.
Mhm.
But one of the things I would love to see out of it is a written letter to each and every one of those people to write a letter to them from the water company, not just a stock letter that is stamped, we see you have a problem, that kind of thing. But a letter to address their problem, exactly their problem, to them, and have that through the letter, and then invite them to have a conversation with you all, to come in to you all. And I would like to have a copy of those letters without their names. You can redact their names, their addresses, that kind of stuff, so we don't need that. But I'd like to have a copy of the letters that you send to these folks to explain what is on and I still think y'all need to explain your water bills are changing, and a little bit better explanation on the back. But I think you need to break your water bills down too, to say this is garbage on there, this is this fee, this is this fee, this is this fee, this is your sewer, this is your water, to break that down, because these bills are getting bigger because the things are going up on it all the time. So it all falls under the water company. So I think if you'd break that down too, that would help a little bit, and an explanation on the back of it to say this is how much you're paying on trash, this is how much. But
Sure.
How you can do that, I don't have a clue. But if you can do that, so somebody can flip the water bill over and say, oh, well, I'm paying $25 of a $40 bill on garbage, or
Karen,
whatever.
It already states that on the bill. It breaks it down.
Is it
front-
clear to breaking
Yeah,
it down?
yes.
It's
People
broken
don't seem to
down
be
like an
noticing.
invoice on the front.
Okay.
We've looked into doing it on the back. I believe you had suggested
Yeah,
that
I did,
before. So the back is not dynamic, so
Okay.
the only thing we can do is upload like a PNG or a JPEG to the back, so
Okay.
it's static.
I still think people get confused on how much extra, which you all are willing to take it, but how much extra is on that water bill.
Right.
So if there's anywhere you can think of it, even if it's on the back or on the front, if you can clarify it somehow so it really jumps back out at people with that. But it does concern me that you got 31 out of random folks, and you do still have 11 that is questionable, that you can't figure out what the problem is. I have a feeling, and I don't know, maybe you can't do this, but if you were to say, can we come into your house and look to see if we find something in your house that may be causing this problem? I have a feeling a lot of them will say, sure, because I want this fixed. So tell me what I'm supposed to do. And I don't know if you can do that or not.
We would love to be able to investigate with them, but we're not licensed plumbers. So our licenses end at the meter. So we're not actually allowed to go in and investigate anything on their property.
One thing I do keep hearing, though, is that several of those 11 had never contacted the water company.
Correct.
And I think it's incumbent upon us as city council people to ask that question when people call us. Have you let them know? Because you can't do anything if you don't know about it. And so, we can help these customers by directing them to the right people. What I would say is, have you contacted the water company? I have faith that they will take care of your problem, but please contact me if you contact them and they don't. And then I will follow up from there. But the process, to get the process started, requires that you contact the water company. And we need to start there. If we really want to see the problems resolved, we need to start them off with as few obstacles and as few different points of reference as possible.
Well, I
Go
think-
right to the source.
I think the water company, though, I really think people have lost faith in the water company. And granted, it was on Facebook, and of course, you know, some things are great on Facebook, some things are not. But it was on Facebook, and then what you ended up having, because it was on the social media, you had a whole lot of people start talking about it, and then all of a sudden, collectively, several people started to say, oh, well, we're having that problem too, and we're having that problem too, we're having that problem too. You break it down, maybe there's not as many as complaining about it, but there's enough conversation that there's a problem. And they were really feeling like they were getting a roadblock from coming to the water company, that the water company wasn't listening to them when they were coming to the water company. It took them collectively to start to complain about something, to get our attention, for us to finally get your all's attention that, hey, we need something done with this because we don't like our constituents having to be upset about their water bill if it's not a legitimate reason that they need to be upset about it and concerned about it. So there was a trust factor with our constituents and the water company. And I don't think the water company was at first taking it seriously enough to reach out to them to build that trust back. So you're making an effort now to try to build the trust back, and to actually, when people actually have legitimate concerns, I mean, that's why they come to us, is because they have the concerns and they don't know what to do. And so, yes, we should direct them to the water company, but in doing so, if they weren't feeling like they were getting answers, then that's when collectively they realized a whole bunch of people weren't getting the answers that they needed. So I'm happy to see that the water company is going to take at least the people that contacted me serious and actually delving into each one of their items and going to write them a letter to say, here's what we have found, here's what, come talk to us, we want to, even including the 6 that didn't reach out to you all, because people are intimidated sometimes. That's why they've been on Facebook. They don't feel as intimidated on Facebook. They come in front of here and stand where you're standing and talk to us, they feel intimidated. And so that's not what we want. We want them to feel comfortable with their water company and feel comfortable with us. So I'm glad you're stepping to start to do that. But the water company has lost favor in the eyes of the community, and I think you doing this will help to start putting some trust back into that, because we want to trust the water company and trust that, hey, I got a bill, it's accurate, I got a problem inside my house, or I don't have a problem inside my house. And I can go to you and I can say, hey, I got an issue here, can you help me with it, instead of saying, oh no, your water bill's just high, pay it. And that's the feedback I've gotten. Now, with the feedback I've gotten because they're frustrated, probably, is frustration coming through, but that's not what I want with one of our departments. I want them to say, let's sit down, let's have a talk about this, let's figure this out, what's going on. I understand you're frustrated, and I want to reach out and help you, because it's what all of us up here want to do, is help our constituents when they're frustrated with stuff. So.
Do you think, Karen, because they did contact you, I heard her question about whether or not you're speaking for those customers and saying that the water company needs to proactively reach out to those 6 people that didn't call the water company, they called you. And I don't feel like as a council that we can say that. They reached out to you, and she's asking, you know, is a directive that they're supposed to reach out to people that haven't contacted them. Do you feel comfortable?
I would reach out to them, because if they felt how all this started with me getting the emails is just because I saw it on one of the Facebook posts, and I said, if y'all want to send to me, I gave them the city's website. If you want to send, or email, I said, if you want to send them, and we'll see if we have the water company take a look at them. Well, you're taking a look at them. You're doing what they're getting some kind of results from it, and that's why I think they need to be known what happened, because if they sent it, they're willing, they want information if they sent it to me. And that's why it was shared with all of you all.
They sent it to you, and so maybe you, on those 6, you could say, you might be expecting to get a phone call from the water company.
I have a feeling this conversation will be on Facebook tonight.
Okay.
So.
Well, let's, okay.
I think one of the points that Councilwoman Mitchell was making is the council as a body has not taken action
Formally.
to request that next step. So
Okay.
we're having individual conversations.
Right.
So if you all as a body would like to formalize that, so we're communicating as a body to the water company, I think that is the point she was trying to raise.
So,
And on that, I'll make a motion to ask the water company to reach out to each and every one of those customers in a form of a letter or correspondence to them to say what they have discovered and what they have found, including the ones that you're still looking and evaluating. And then request them to please get in touch with you all and that you all would like to have a solution to these problems. I'll make that as a form of a motion.
all right, so that's a motion made that we will have the water company to investigate, to look into, and contact those people that are still having an issue or problem with that, and to report back as to what those findings were. Is I'm understanding that correctly?
I can
All right.
second that, too.
With second, okay, motion's made and properly second. Ms. Sams made the motion, and Ms. Brent seconded. Either further question and/or comments? All those in favor of this motion signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed say nay. Thank you, Carissa,
Thank you,
for
Mayor.
giving us the information and updating us, and your staff for taking the initiative to resolve this issue.
Mr. Mayor, I've got one last quick question. Carissa, on one of the previous slides, there was something about non-payment. One customer either didn't pay. Could you explain what that was, what that happened there?
So they got their second bill when they hadn't paid their prior bill. So that balance was very large because it was two bills in one.
Okay.
So I think they thought that it was their usage, but really it was just the month prior rolled over onto their next bill.
Okay, great. Thank you.
All right, next is item number 11, City Attorney, the municipal order for national opiate settlement, 6 remnant defendants. All right. And Miss Emily is going to come up and talk a little bit about that.
Good evening. So tonight before you is a request to essentially choose to participate in a new proposed national opioid settlement with 6 regional distributors or dispenser defendants. There's a series of lawsuits and settlements, I think probably over the last 5 years, and this is another one that's part of multi-district litigation number 2804. Essentially, we had submitted a local government claim to be looped into this lawsuit, and based on the proposed settlement, which has not been accepted yet, it's proposed. If you all choose to participate, it looks like the city would receive maybe $4,600 as a settlement in the participation here. Outside counsel has vetted the proposed settlement and they're recommending acceptance. You all have seen a few of these over the last year, so it's as simple as saying, yes, we want to participate, get those funds. Those funds do have to go to, what's the word I'm looking for? They have to be used for opioid abatement here in Georgetown, so they are designated for a specific purpose.
All right.
Motion, Mayor.
Motion made by Ms. Mitchell. Do I have a second? Second. Second made by Mr. Minke. Are there further questions and/or comments? All those in favor of this motion signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed say nay.
I have just one small question. Do we know how much money we currently still have? And I guess this money is invested until it's used?
What do you mean by money we still have, money we received?
Yeah.
So far, there have been, looks like 9 settlements to date, and
Right.
we've received about $301,000. I'm gonna round the number. The money that we have, that goes towards the community support team with the police department and helps fund their services.
And so it's actively going out for categories that are already being used.
So under the settlements, there are categories that
Right.
are earmarked for how these funds can be spent. So here in Georgetown, the money that comes in goes straight to the recovery support. What? Yes, recovery
So
support.
Corey
coordinator.
Council is
Corey
helping with
Council
that?
and
Yeah.
his work.
Okay.
Yeah, and they do a lot of good work with that too.
Yeah.
Reaching out to people in this individual in this community.
Thanks for that information.
Yep.
All right, thank you.
All righty. Item number 12, city engineer, municipal order for traffic calming Tier 2 speed tables.
Thank you, Mayor, Council. Last time, we did a presentation on the speed tables, and this is a MO to ask for funding for the program to install them at the locations that were identified on the maps that were attached with the MO. There's 10 locations total, and I wanted to ask for your all's blessing or approval, I should say, on the use of these funds for that purpose.
All right. Motion made by Mr. Stone. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Second made by Ms. Brent. Are there further questions and or comments?
Mayor, one thing sorry, Devin. One of the things that was brought up on the speed tables is how to keep them from getting rolled up the edges. How they're installed is a line is milled perpendicular to the road, and it goes down into the blacktop. So when they start paving, it is a smooth transition into the speed table on both ends, so that when the snowplows come along, it's less likely to rip up the blacktop. And that that information was confirmed with Mark Reed with Hamilton Hinkle and Roof.
Yep.
Or Hamilton Hinkle, excuse me, showing my age. I threw roofs on there.
Okay. All right. Any other question or comment? You've heard the motion and properly second. If there's no more question or comment, all those in favor of this motion signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, say nay. Let the record reflect that it passed. Item 12B, presentation for the stormwater maintenance, city engineer Eddie Hightower and Public Works Director Robert Bruin. Okay. And you'll let
Make Robert come up. He makes it all happen. He tries to. So thank you all for letting me give you this presentation. I think it's probably a repeat for a lot of you all. You all already know what a lot of this stuff is, and you've seen it before. But for the general public, we wanted to put out more information, more awareness of what stormwater is, what we do. You hear that term a lot, but what does it really mean in terms of the work we do in the program? So the first slide is Stormwater 101. Stormwater is rain and snow that can pick up pollutants as it flows over surfaces, roads, sidewalks, buildings, and landscapes. That is impervious surfaces. That's a picture of a catch basin inlet where the water channels off the road and drops into that channel and goes through a system of pipes and on out. So next slide, please. So improving the community is obviously clean rivers and lakes and streams, which is vital to the economy and the community as a whole. And obviously the North Elkhorn is a very important resource for the community, and that's where a lot of the old Georgetown ends up. So next slide, please. So why do we care about stormwater? Well, we are an MS4 community, which means we're state permitted, where we have a lot of requirements that the State Division of Water requires us to do in terms of stormwater every year. We report to the state every year. And that's not the only reason we care about it. We care about it because we care about, the environment as a whole. So, the next slide, please. This is another thing why I care about stormwater. It's kind of an interesting picture. You're looking at a pipe lining project that we did, and recently, and that looks like a sock, and we call it a sock, but it goes into the pipe, and they induce heat and a chemical reaction, and it adheres to the pipe, and you got basically a pipe within a pipe, and it gives you a new pipe, if you will, or at least a new lined old pipe that has structural strength, and it's a good way to use trenchless technology to not tear up streets and areas that are close to buildings and that sort of thing, and we utilized it here on this project. The next slide, please. Again, why we care about stormwater, well, we're trying to prevent both properties from flooding, people's investments, and then also the overall environment. This is a picture of this was completely buried, this pipe. We found it. It was backed up. You can see where we've cleared it all out recently to open it up so it drains properly. And I believe this pipe was totally submerged and it was barely trickling out. And we were seeing effects upstream where it was ponding in other locations. So, next slide, please. This is an overall slide of Georgetown community. And you notice it's a color-coded map that shows all the different watersheds, all the different drainage areas. The biggest being in the middle, the blue, is North Elkhorn, we're most familiar with. You see where the streams are located there in the dark blue. Lanes Run and Dry Run are big up in the north, and especially around Toyota and that area, that campus they have up there. And then also Cane Run, which is another big one, goes on into Lexington and Fayette County. Next slide, please. So the extent of the city system, this is a map, and everything you see in pink is a storm drain. It's a storm line that's located all over, so it's a big area, a lot of pipe, a lot of catch basins, head walls, manholes, culverts, channels, and storms all working together to divert rainwater to the creeks. So next slide, please. This is an interesting slide that you've seen before. It's the value of the system based on the amount of piping that's in the ground. If we had to replace it today, what would it cost? And it's $40 million of infrastructure that is that the city is responsible for maintaining and keeping up. And then on the private side, it's just as much. And that is off the right-of-way, if you will. Think about a pipe that goes across a parking lot in a commercial development to drain that parking lot. That's considered private because it's off the right-of-way. It's on private property. It's designated as such until it comes into the street, and then it becomes our responsibility to take care of it.
Eddie? So, Eddie, of the public infrastructure that we have, depending on the types of pipes and things like that, the life expectancy of storm systems is probably in the 1970s is when it's reaching its useful life. Of that 36 miles, which is 191,000 linear feet, what percentage of that, of the city's system, would be in that category of reaching its end of life or has already reached its typical end of life that we would need to be looking at capital improvements to replace?
Right. Yeah, I would go back probably 50 years. If you got a 50-year-old pipe, I would go back that far and start there. And we have done that. We did that in the downtown area around Georgetown College. Went through and cambered the whole system, cleaned it all out, trying to see if we can get the most bang out of what we've got, figure out what we've got, what condition it was. So I would start at that 50-year mark and go anything 50 and older, as you're going to very likely look at replacement or major rehab.
So it would be interesting to understand as a council what that expected potential capital outlay would be, because we have to fund that. And since we didn't have any real meaningful conversation about the stormwater utility, that's what Eddie and I went up to Greensburg, Indiana, to look at. And you don't necessarily have to have the full-blown thing to start generating some income to be able to look and pay for those capital outlays rather than have to build it into your budget from general fund dollars. So I think that's something that we ought to at least be aware of how much is coming, and not just in immediate failures. So,
Yeah, it's,
thank you.
next slide, please. This is what we currently do. These are where I brag on Robert about all, and his crews about all the day in and day out, the little small jobs that we do all the time. I wanted to highlight. This is a picture of a storm drain that was not working right. It was clogged up. We had to uncover it. We had to clean it all out, put down channel lining or riprap. And it's just one of the little projects we do. You can see our guys up in the equipment up on the hill. So we do pipe repairs, B&P repairs, catch basins, CCTV, and curb and gutter improvements every day. And that's something that when we find them, we give them to Robert. He assigns them to his crews. If it's more than we have the equipment and manpower for, we contract that out to independent contractors that we have under contract, and we'll send it out that way and get it done. So we inspect approximately 60 basins every year, and the water quality units, we're cleaning them out as necessary. So what are water quality units? Well, they're mechanical structures, they're vaults. Oh, next slide, I'm sorry. Thank you, Robert. Water quality units are mechanical structures. We have a number of them all over town. And the idea is it's a septic tank of types where the water goes into this vault. There's filtration systems, there's weirs, there's things that are happening. And the idea is you're separating out all the mud and the debris from the stormwater, and the water that comes out is cleaner. It's a filtration device, and that's great. The bad part is we have to clean those out periodically. We have to go in with a vac truck and mechanically remove all that debris and sediment that is collected within these water quality units, and that can be a real job, especially if they hadn't been done in a long time, because it's really hard to remove that debris. It's settled in there a lot. So we've cleaned out over 30 water quality units in the last 3 years. Much of which have no records of being previously cleaned. So we did that.
I have a question.
As we know. Oh, sorry.
When you trap these pollutants, is there a way that we know what kind of pollutants are there so that we can try to figure out if somebody dumping something in there, or is it runoff from fertilizer, or?
Yeah. We don't test it like that. It's usually solids. It's usually gravel and sand and that it's hard stuff. Plus pop cans and trash and debris and all that sort of stuff mixed in with it as well. And so it goes to the landfill. We haul it off. It goes to the landfill and it gets disposed of there. But we don't test it for grease and oil. Or any hydrocarbons or anything like that. It's hauled off site and disposed of in a sanitary landfill is what we do with it. Next slide, please. This is just a picture of what it looks like to clean one out. You see a tube going in there. That's a vac truck, and it's pulling all the debris out of there. And it's pretty expensive to have each one cleaned out, I would say. Next slide, please. This slide is showing a flood and a cul-de-sac over in the Mount Vernon area. And you can see the water it's backed up due to a clogged pipe. And that's why it's very, very important for the public to call the mayor's office or call our office direct and let us know when something doesn't seem right, because the chances are there's something we can do about it and fix it. And so we unclogged this pipe, and it's working much better. That was Wig Court, over on Wig Court.
It was right in behind the hospital.
Yeah. So there's flooding, infrastructure and property damage issues, polluted waterways, and you can be in permit non-compliance in some extreme cases as well. So it's just another example of some of the projects that we do. Next slide, please. So this slide is just another slide showing a clean out of a head wall and a pipe and a ditch that had been, was clogged up, and we had to go in there and route it out and fix it. Next slide, please. This is something that from time to time will happen. There's an illicit discharge, and we have to be involved in that. So it's any discharge to the storm system is not composed entirely of stormwater. We've done 3 illicit discharges reported with notices of violation. One was a diesel fuel spill, a pretty significant one that we had at a gas station. Another one was a grease and oil spill that we had in a parking lot. And the other one was out at the industrial park. We had some outside containing units that leaked. And we have to make sure that they're going to take best management practices to go in and fix their operations. And we're involved in that, and we work with EMS on that as well. Or not EMS, but EMA, excuse me. EMS, thank you. Next slide, please. No, I'll be brief here. I'll move on quickly. This is just what a cleanup looks like. You can see this was a grease spill in a parking lot. They had to put down this, what do you call the
Stay dry.
Yeah, stay dry. It absorbs all the stuff. They cleaned it up, and it's just how it's the best way we can attack it. So that's, next slide, please. So what can you do? I mentioned this a little bit earlier. If someone was to see somebody doing something that wasn't right, to call it in and call the mayor's office, and that call will get to us. And there's a number there that you can report any illicit discharge that may occur. This is another program that we do under the stormwater. Next slide, please. Rain barrels. People are, it's a popular thing. You're connecting your downspout off your roof into the barrel and use it for water, and watering gardens primarily is what most people do around here. And it's a good thing that people really like. We sell the rain barrels. We have them available for the public. And so next slide, please. This is more of the same, showing kind of the rain barrels. Next slide, please. So our stormwater successes, I'm going to turn this over to Robert. You want me to go? Go ahead. All right, stormwater successes. These are projects that Robert, his crews, and our crews do. This is one at the Housing Authority on West Lynn Street. We had a big problem with their storm drain over there, and we cleaned it all out. There's a picture of a cone that we pulled out of there, and you can see a deep pit where the water was. The pipe was in bad shape. That was the one we ended up lining because of where it was located. So that's one project that we did. Next slide, please. We do a lot of these curb tops. They're broken up. They're in disrepair. You can see the before and after, where we did one on Carly Drive, the industrial park. And we fix those and make them as new as we can get them. And the people really appreciate that in the neighborhoods. They'd like to see those get fixed. Next slide. It's another one the same on George Martin, where we repaired that one. Next slide. This is Osborne Way. Same thing. We do quite a few of them. Next slide, please. This is a Cumberland Drive where we cleaned out another outfall, and helped it drain. It was clogged up. Next slide, please. This is a picture of a pipe replacement we did at Rabbit Run recently. The next slide. This is a channel under Broadway that had developed a sinkhole, and we filled it in. It's a before and after picture there. Next slide. This is some manholes on Main Street. After they paved, we had to raise the lids up and repair those so for the traffic. Next slide, please. Y'all probably remember in Osborne Way over by Walmart when that big project happened. This is a picture. We had to replace a large section of old HDPE pipe that's plastic with reinforced concrete pipe just because of where it was located and the depth of cover. Next slide, please. We had a project on Bourbon Street drainage where we replaced a whole big section of pipe that was bad. We did that in conjunction with some street other street improvements. Next slide, please. Stormwater ditches are very important as well. You can see a before and after on West Showalter Drive, or you can see where it was practically covered up with silt, and we routed it out, and the before after there. Same on Oxford Drive. Oxford Drive we've had street flooding over there, and we ditched that out as well. Next slide, please. This is a stormwater project we did, MLK stormwater project. The property owners were concerned about some high water situations getting close to coast house. We improved the ditch through there so that water can get out and not be you can see how close it is to the home there anyways, to keep it running and dry. Next slide, please. This is a slide that I just threw in. This was done when we were looking at a stormwater program, kind of long-term needs of different labor and equipment and contractual services that we might need to do in the future, and a cost associated, annual cost associated with a program, which is quite a bit more than we're doing now. Next slide, please. So these are capital projects, long-term capital projects that we are looking at. You can see at the bottom we've completed several of them, and then it's running through a whole bunch of other projects that we've identified that really could use. And we picked 3 as our top 3. One's the Colony Swale. There's some swales over in the Colony subdivision that need some attention. Indian Acres, Indian Hills, you've heard us talking about that quite a bit. That's another active high priority that we're going to be working on a lot. And then there's the one at 503, 507 Broadway, which is another channel project that we are actively working on as well. So the next slide. These are. Do you have something? No. Okay. These are future projects. These are the ones that I just mentioned. The Indian Hills, Carly, Broadway, Clayton and Broadway, the corner lot project, Colony Swale, and 2025 annual reporting. Annual reporting is a big effort that we go through because we have to document everything we do, and we have to keep lots and lots of lists and reports and things that the state makes us do, and we turn it in an annual report, 600-page thick thing, so it's kind of crazy. But it's just what we do, and so those are future projects, and that's the end of it.
I have a question, Mayor.
Yes, go ahead.
Could you tell me what this MS4 community designation means?
It's Municipal Separate Storm Sewer System, MS4, and there's like 4 of them in the county. The city, the county is an MS4, the city's an MS4, Georgetown College is an MS4 for their campus, and State Highway Department is an MS4 for their streets and roads.
So are there extra requirements because of that designation, or
Well,
why are they designated?
It's it's a all state-driven, statutory-driven.
Mhm.
There's a whole section of the law that governs MS4 communities and MS4s in general, and it spells out a whole lot of it's a whole nother topic of things that they make us do. They make us go into classrooms and give educational in schools. We do that. We do a lot of reporting. We're supposed to do a lot of inspections. One of the biggest things is inspecting active construction sites. You see, they're probably the ones that you get more runoff because there's no grass, right? And it's been excavated. And that's why you have silt fences around the perimeter and a lot of other things. So that's a big reporting effort, just monitoring all those sites. The way Georgetown's growing, just monitoring all those sites is another big component. And then, you also look at capital projects, but it's all spelled out in about 6 different categories for MS4s that we go through, and it's all spelled out in our permit document.
Mhm.
It's a 25-page thick document or so, and
Is it based on population?
Yeah, if you're a, yes, if you're our size, you're a tier 2. If you're Lexington, Louisville, Sanitation District 2 in Northern Kentucky, you're tier 1. You have a whole lot, higher level of, requirements.
Right.
We're a tier 2, our size.
Okay.
As we grow, we someday probably will be a tier 1.
Yeah.
But that's based on population.
Okay,
Yeah.
thank you.
Yes.
Mayor, one other question. So Eddie, on your anticipated capital projects list, it lists the comprehensive master plan.
Yeah.
I guess, what's the priority, or when do we need to have that done? That's, in parens, you've got flood insurance study, watershed study. It's a $1.1 million project.
Yeah.
Where does that fall in the priority and the need?
The FEMA study?
Yeah.
Yeah, these are projects that we've identified that we have a need for. And, we haven't put times on them, like, we don't have hard dates established of when we would like to complete all of them. What we try to do is keep between 3 and 5 projects active. That's about what we can tackle with our current, what we have to work with. And so we try to keep 3 to 5 going actively, and we try to just pick the ones that are going to have the most effect, on the community in the immediate areas that are going to have the biggest bang for the buck.
Yeah. Yeah, it would be interesting to see what the benefit of that study, that we would gain from being able to have that and move forward, just like the priorities of all the other projects that are there.
Generally, those types of studies are very intense. They're very involved.
Right.
And it's heavy duty H&H studies. And you're establishing, the ultimate goal is you're establishing flood levels.
Right.
You've seen flood maps.
Right.
And the Elkhorn is a fully established
Right.
flood maps. And it requires this a big study, and it gets reviewed at the highest levels of government.
Right. But it also gives you that strategic insight of understanding where you need to go based on the growth perhaps that's here, as well as any of the changes that have been made, like the reduction or the removal of the dam on the Elkhorn and those kinds of things. And all those impacts that it has on the stormwater and potential flooding and all of those kinds of things. Because, with all the changes that we have seen, the 100-year floodplains aren't really that anymore. And that's why we need to have those kinds of studies.
Yeah, they're updating a lot of those with urbanization, and changing those maps. So anyways, that's it.
All right.
Again, if there's any problems, call the mayor's office, and we want to try to get out and get them fixed.
All right. Any other questions? Thank you, Eddie.
Okay, you're welcome.
All right, we have item 13A, municipal order for agent financing agreement amendment, Bluegrass Community Action Partnership. Ms. Stacy.
Good evening. As part of the amended nonprofit agency funding policy, we did allow for agencies to come back and submit additional applications if they had additional needs throughout the fiscal year. And during our last budget amendment, I believe we added $25,000 additional to that budget. So we have received an application from the Bluegrass Community Action Partnership specifically for the, make sure I don't get the name of the program wrong, Bluegrass Ride Georgetown program, requesting an additional $20,000. And what this would enable them to do is to not charge fares. They were going to start charging fares, low fares of $1 per person, but there was some interest among, I believe, some council members, and they submitted an application for an additional $20,000 that will cover them through June 30th to not charge fares. And then, of course, The applications for next year were due on the 3rd, so we haven't had a chance to comb through all those yet, but this was through June 30th. Yes.
So it'd be no fares starting when to ending when? When is the 20,000 from and to?
Do you remember the exact?
They will cut fees off tomorrow. So they have said that they are ready. They've got their communication strategy ready to deploy. So as soon as it's approved, Stacy's got everybody on deck to issue the check, so long as the council approves it. And like Stacy said, I haven't reviewed that application to know, but they're aware that the council has interest in, or some council members have expressed interest in supporting that. And you'll have the opportunity to, as a body, support it tonight. So I would anticipate them applying for this moving forward.
So it's indefinite until it seems like they need more money again?
This only gets through June 30.
Through
So
June 30.
it's this
Okay,
contract
that's what I
period,
missed.
yep, their agreement is good through June 30, and then ultimately all the agencies that apply, so long as they go through the budget process, would go through the same agreement
Process,
as
okay.
every year. Yep.
Thank you.
So did we happen to take the opportunity to have the conversation about expanding routes? I know we had raised the question about the trailer park on the south side because of some workforce issues and things like that.
Yes.
To at least start that conversation.
We started that conversation, and their sentiment was that seems like something that's tying in as they roll out their regional route, which I believe is tied to the fiscal year. So we will circle back to make sure that conversation's still on the table, but as of now, just the Georgetown proper route, that wasn't under consideration for them. But I think there might be opportunity as they address that regional route. So certainly opportunity there, and they were open to it. Also made that connection. I know you had talked about, and I'm blanking. I think she's through Bluegrass.
Workforce.
Workforce with Miss Reeves. So she had some family things come up and hasn't been able to get all the information to me yet. But I was able to grab a coffee with her and talk about making that connection with Troy at Bluegrass Community Action. So that connection is being made, and we'll continue to monitor that opportunity.
Okay, great. Thank you.
Yep.
All right. Any other questions? All right, at this time, I'll entertain a motion.
Motion, Mayor.
Motion made by Ms. Mitchell. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second made by Ms. Hambert. Are there further questions and/or comments? All those in favor of this motion signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed say nay. Thank you. Item municipal order, item B, municipal order for budget transfer.
Yes, this is something we don't do very often, so it's new to some of you. Obviously, when we make any large amendments to the budget, if we are adding expenses, adding revenue, moving funds between departments or between funds, they'll all have to be done by ordinance. But the budget ordinance that we adopted in 2005 allows for council to approve budget transfers between line items in a department. The mayor has authority to approve up to $10,000 transfers between line items. Anything above that has to have council approval. So that's why this is coming to you in this format, a municipal order to approve a budget transfer within the Public Works Department rather than an ordinance. The second piece of this, I told Robert I could handle it for him, so hopefully there's not too many questions, but we have fully purchased our 1,200-ton allocation of road salt that council approved back last spring, last summer, after we do our reverse salt auction. Because of the winters that we and other states and regions have had, we anticipate that when we complete the reverse salt auction that's coming up in May, we anticipate that the price per ton will go up. And we do have the opportunity now to purchase additional tons at the current contract price, as long as it's available. So we didn't want to wait until the next budget amendment, because the word we got back from our vendor, Morton Salt, was you can buy it at the current price. That price is good through June 30, as long as we still have it available. So that's what this budget transfer is for. We already have the approved contract that council previously approved with Morton Salt as our vendor. So once the budget transfer is approved, Robert will be able to place an order for an additional 800 tons at the $105. When we do the budget amendment coming up, we may have to replenish one or two line items, but to get this accomplished as quickly as possible, accomplishing it via transfer between line items to make this order. So if you have any questions, I'll do my best to answer.
So just a quick question. I think it's a great use of funds to be able to do that, and appreciate you looking at that. The question I would have is, yeah, you've got the price locked in, but do you anticipate any surcharges for delivery
I don't,
above and beyond?
The email I sent to the lady asked if we could get more additional salt. She didn't mention surcharges. Now, they could come when I order it. What she told me is, and I sent the email to Devin and Stacy when they asked me if we could get more, is you need to do it quick.
Yeah.
You need to get it ordered. So I'll know more tomorrow because I haven't corresponded with her because we're waiting on this.
Yeah. I mean, any surcharge
Yeah.
has
well,
got to be
still-
offset
I'll be
anyway
honest
with the
you,
price, yeah.
You know,
so-
for the last 10 years, you could tell when the prices go up. And then, not only that, you know, what we did have in the background, stored, we've used just about all of it.
Yeah.
And with fuel prices now, that's not gonna help the price any.
Right. Thanks, Robert.
All right. Any other questions? Well, at this time, I will entertain a motion.
Motion.
Motion made by Mr. Minky. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second by Ms. Sames. Are there further questions and/or comments? All those in favor of this motion signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed say nay. Item 14, police municipal order surplus.
Mayor and council, the items that you have are, basically, most of them are found property that come out of our property and evidence room. We have no use for them at the police department. So that could be where an officer is on a call and comes across a large toolbox that's fallen off of a truck or what have you. So that's where a lot of that stuff comes from. Also, at least 2 times a year, we do a deep tear down of the property and evidence room, and that's where the officers go through and look at the cases that they have that has property that cases have been adjudicated and went through the court and that we're no longer going to use or anything like that. So that's what this is.
All righty. At this time, I entertain a motion.
Motion.
Motion made by Ms. Sames. Do I have a second? Second by Mr. Stone. Are there further questions and/or
I have a
comments? Yes.
So, for these guns, I guess if somebody wants to buy it, you're doing a check on,
For the magazines,
yeah. I mean, I see,
yeah, there's checks that they have to go through the FAA or,
so they do checks and things?
yes,
For the magazines and things?
yeah,
Okay.
firearms.
Yeah.
All right. Is there any other questions and/or comments? All righty. All in favor of this motion signify by saying aye. Aye. Those opposed say nay. Item 15A, old business.
Mayor, I'm just bringing up something real quick. I should have brought it up earlier when talking about the water, but I have heard some customers complaining about the taste and the smell of the water. But one lady called me about it, and she said that the water company explained there's the algae in it, and I told her about how we transfer over sometimes, and that happens and stuff too. But she said at the water company, they told her to buy bottled water. And I said, well, you understand the taste of that. I don't want to drink it either. But, so I don't know, when I said about frustration that customers have, that if that conversation was accurate, because that's hearsay for me, I wasn't a part of that conversation, that needs a little bit more tact maybe, and I'm the last person to talk about tact, but maybe needs a little bit more tact in handling things like that. So that's it.
All right, any other old business?
Mayor, just quick question on City Hall status and schedule. Yes, middle of April.
It is April. So happy to send an updated memo out. I'll transparently say we've had to shift a number of things just based on kind of the order of operations. I would have independently thought that we could do a lot of these things parallel to the construction completion, and that is obviously not the case. So we've rescheduled our date for our NetGain IT infrastructure project based on the basement being kind of still the portion that's really not done. Frankly, everything else is like I mentioned last memo, largely clean up. The basement is still under condition or under construction, and that atmosphere is not ideal to put IT infrastructure. So we have moved that to the end of next week, and closely following that is the AV and security controls. Furniture install, same thing next week based on a delay on the elevator inspection and kind of stamp of approval on that. So glad to send an updated memo to you all. We're on track to get the photos submitted to the Heritage Council in mid-May and get you all to approve kind of our bank of choice there being stockyards. I won't speak to the percentages and the numbers on the dollar that we're getting for those tax credits. Leave that to Stacy. I know she's reported on that before. But glad to update that memo and send it to you all, and then provide an update publicly at the next council meeting as well, if that's of interest.
Okay.
So we don't know substantial completion?
Contractual substantial completion has passed. So, I mean, that was early March. So, that was March 3rd.
Okay. All right, any other old business? All right, new business. All righty, nobody got nothing new to say. Good. All right, move right on. Item 16, council comments. All right. Oh, before we get to council comment, I had forgotten to say something. Please forgive me. As you know that downtown, they're doing the brick reset, those bricks. They're now over by the Scott County Museum, starting that side. So that's going to be going on. They're still going to have a pathway where you can still go up to do business. One other item is that there have been a lot of interest in people want to buy some of those bricks themselves to be put in. If you are interested, or if someone calls about that, they need to contact Lori Saunders with Tourism, and the cost is about $45 for that to be done. So I was told to make sure I mention that, because there was a few citizens had reached out to Eddie and others to find out how we do that. All right? Now, council comments. Mr. Stone?
Thank you, Mayor. First off, the sheriff's office going through a lot, as well as the law enforcement, and a lot of people in Georgetown passing of Deputy David Hogarth. I worked with David. I coached his son in football. One heck of a good guy. He will be missed not only with the sheriff's office, but with the school system as well, as he was a resource officer at Scott County High School. Second thing is, this is National Public Safety Telecommunicators Week. If you haven't had a chance to talk with the dispatchers, you need to. They've saved my neck more than once, as well as a lot of others. So I want to make sure that they know that they are greatly appreciated for being unsung heroes that they are. So that's all I've got.
Ms. Mitchell? Ms. Brent?
I have nothing, thank you.
Ms. Hambrick?
I'm good.
Mr. Minkey?
Just one item, Mayor. With the appointment of Judith Littleton, you and I had interacted about kind of the status of the Housing Authority Executive Director. Maybe you could share that.
Oh, okay, so we are in the point in time trying to get a new executive director. So after some extensive interviews, we have kind of narrowed it down to 2 finalists, and then we're actually going to be meeting to talk about those 2 finalists and hopefully be able to offer a contract for that very, very soon. And I'll let council know when it's done.
Thank you.
Yes, sir. All right.
I'm good, thank you.
Oh, my goodness. All right. If there's no other business brought for this council, this meeting is adjourned.